Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, Russia, Russian, 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 the Russians. Russian.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots. Their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. It won't be quite the same because Chris is out tonight, but it'll be a little bit of a throwback because me and Patrick used to do this, like just us two, for the longest time back when I first started. So, Patrick, how you doing, man?
Just great. Got a new shirt. I tried to steam it myself because it was wrinkled when it came in the mail. So it's not as fancy as the shirts I normally wear on the Devolution Power Hour, but I try to bring out new shirts occasionally for y'all to look at. So here we are.
So just to clarify, you did buy that shirt on purpose.
I bought this shirt on purpose just for you to make fun of.
I'm just kidding, bro. You look great, as always.
Thank you.
The skin looks, you're glowing.
I feel glowing. Every bit of me is glowing. My soul is glowing. My spirit in this info war continues to rage against the machine and all sorts of other cliche things I could say right now.
Love it, man. Should be a fun episode. We're going to talk about this info war a little bit here later on. Some of the things we're going to discuss is this whole Gitmo saga that's ongoing because there's been some interesting developments. We'll also get a little bit into the CISA stuff. I mean, we talk about that a lot, but there's been some developments there too. Might as well get a little into it. We'll talk about the two females the two males that are competing to see who is the best male. Did I say this right? The two males competing to see who is the best female boxer in the Olympics.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is that the way this story is going?
Yes.
The female boxing competition in the Olympics is down to two dudes.
Yep.
Pretending to be women.
Yep.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because I did a post on Twitter and David Becker, our one and only, our good buddy, responded with a comment about full control. And so I want to talk about that. And me and Patrick are going to have a little friendly discussion about whether there's full control or not. And so that should be fun. And we'll see what else we get into. If you guys have any comments in the chat or if you leave us a rant or a boost or whatever, we'll maybe elaborate on those a little more than usual because Chris is not here to I don't know, be Chris.
To be the second color commentary. So yeah. we have the Chris perspective, which is kind of the really, really strict epistemological perspective of, I guess you could say, humility, which is funny because neither Chris nor I are actually all that humble. But when it comes to, we have epistemological humility, which is another way of saying we start off by saying we know nothing and we'll see where we can go from there.
Yeah.
Chris does it in a more, I guess, professorial way, and I do it in a more fuck it, it's all gay way.
That's a good way of putting it. But before we get into any of that, let's get to the sponsor of today's show, or one of the sponsors of today's show. We got EasyRx.
We'd like to thank the folks at EasyRx for sponsoring our show tonight. They've helped so many Badlanders get the medications that they need without breaking the bank. As 2024 fires up for the summer and seems to be a rerun of 2020, it's the perfect time to stock up on the suppressed medications and get your family ready for anything they will throw at us. EasyRx has a wide variety of high-quality medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, and so many more. How many times have you wondered, can I get my hands on a Z-Pack? God knows if they pull another COVID and you can't taste right, they might deny you antibiotics. The fake news is getting more exposed every day, and people are waking up to the truth about health and many inexpensive, life-saving medications. You'll find them all right here at EasyRx. The process is simple, the shipping is fast, and the prices are unbeatable. Breathe easy, knowing that you and your family are prepared for anything. Don't wait any longer. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx and use promo code Badlands for 10% off your purchase of $150 or more. That's badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx, promo code Badlands.
There you go. There was a good question in the chat here. They're curious if the horrors are still persisting. And I don't think we're going to be able to find out till next week. You guys are going to have to tune in for us to find that out.
I think this whole world is a delightful circus of illusions for us to poke holes in together.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I honestly go back and forth with the whole we're watching a movie versus not, and we'll get into that later. I want to get into the factual meat and potatoes first before we get to the gravy. You know what I mean? So
the gravy. Well put.
Yeah. Let's
Owen Benjaminism.
Let's start with the Gitmo saga. So this is something we've talked about quite a bit before, and it's one of those things that I think the Q folks have looked at and I've looked at as a little bit of a Devo proof, because Obama was the one who wanted to shut this all down. He wanted to close Gitmo, and Trump came in, and the way Trump set it up and established what was happening at Gitmo is he actually started doing construction there and did it in a way where the people doing the construction had the rights of first refusal. So as long as they were willing to continue to do the construction, they would keep getting paid. Like they were the ones on the contract that got to re-up it every year, not the government. It's wild. We went over this in a power hour a long time ago. Anyway, so
we got a refresher.
Yeah, I don't have that stuff pulled up. I mean, I have to find it. That just came to me. But anyway, so even though there's a declining prisoner population, they're building and adding on at Gitmo. They're adding a second courthouse at Gitmo, so they could have two like judges there doing stuff at the same time. And it's just this is one of those contradictions we look at, right? Like, why is that happening unless they're planning on having a significant increase in the prisoner population at Gitmo?
And what did John Galt, aka Ayn Rand, say in Atlas Shrugged when presented?
That's a big book.
Yeah, but the big one, one of the biggest things in that book. In fact, she named the three big parts of Atlas Shrugged after Aristotelian logic statements. But the statement is, when facing a contradiction, realize that contradictions can't exist. So when you are presented with a contradiction, check your premises. You'll find that one of them is wrong. So if we're seeing a contradiction here, we have to check our premises and figure out which one of them is wrong.
Yep. And this is that contradiction. Like, how come the Biden administration cannot close down or stop the construction at Gitmo? And so it was kind of quiet on the Gitmo front for a while until just a couple days ago, we got word that there was going to be a plea deal with three of the orchestrators, that's what they're calling them, of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. These cases have been ongoing for years. They've been blaming it on, for a while, it was the CIA, and because they tortured these individuals, that they weren't sure they were going to get the death penalty, and they didn't want some of that stuff in discovery. And then COVID happened, and then because of COVID, there was a whole switcheroo of attorneys and stuff, and they basically had to start all over. But I'm going to play a video here, and I want you guys to pay attention. So this is it John Kirby? I can't remember this guy's. Yeah, it's John Kirby, the National Security Communication Advisor. He was on with Brett Baier, the douchebag. And this is Baier asked a question about this plea deal, and listen to what he says.
And this is the 9/11 plea deal. Here's Senator Blumenthal on this.
I am very concerned about this plea deal, and I think we ought to scrutinize it very carefully. I champion the 9/11 families in their legal action against Saudi Arabia. There is so much here that we don't know, and we have an obligation to tell the American people about the potential complicity.
There's a lot of reaction to this, John. A plea deal that gets them out of the death penalty. These are the orchestrators, planners of 9/11 that killed some 3,000 Americans.
Yeah, this was something that was orchestrated by an independent military convening authority. The White House wasn't aware of this deal or the process leading up to it until yesterday.
Did you guys catch that?
No. So, one more time.
I'm gonna play it one more time.
No, all the way. Yeah.
Out of the death penalty. These are the orchestrators, planners of 9/11 that killed some 3,000 Americans.
Yeah, this was something that was orchestrated by an independent military convening authority. The White House wasn't aware of this deal or the process leading up to it until yesterday.
The White House had no idea that these plea deals were allegedly had no idea that these plea deals were going on. They were being done by an independent military commission. Okay. And so,
what the dude? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found that. Of course, I don't watch mainstream news, so thank God you did. That's remarkable.
Yeah. So again, one of those contradictions. How does the Biden administration not know this is going on?
I don't mean to be a real stickler here. Would there be any way to watch his? Could you blow that up and let's watch his face while he's saying it?
Let me try this one more time.
That is such a weird thing to say out loud.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this one more time. Let me refresh it because it wouldn't let me blow it up. Yeah, it's not letting me. Let me see if I can zoom in.
Oh, that's nice.
Negotiating, he was still taking pins not to try and
plead.
We ought to scrutinize there, and we have.
There's a lot of reaction to this, John. You know, a plea deal that gets them out of the death penalty. These are the orchestrators, planners of 9/11 that killed some 3,000 Americans.
Yeah, this was something that was orchestrated by an independent military convening authority.
The micro expression, if you're to believe, if you're to believe the TV show Lie to Me, which is where I get all of my lie detecting ability, he gives the micro expression indicating embarrassment.
And he should be embarrassed. 100%.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing thing to say.
So, but there's more to this story. Okay. So I started researching on this, and there were some articles on this from back in 2022, 2023, talking about these potential plea deals. Okay. So September 11th, prosecutors are in plea talks. Let me see if I can find hold on. Okay, right here. Let's start from, oh man, I don't know how far. Okay, let's start here.
A lead case prosecutor, Clayton G. Trivett Jr., wrote on Wednesday to the defense teams proposing that they discuss, quote, whether pretrial agreements are possible for all 5 cases. While I cannot guarantee that we will come to terms over these next 2 weeks, Mr. Trivett said in an email, putting a concerted effort focused solely on possible agreements while we are all on board Guantanamo, where your clients and teams are present, may be our best chance of at least determining if deals can be reached. Within days, the 5 defendants and their lawyers met in the courtroom to compile an initial list of requirements for the guilty plea, starting with removing the death penalty from the case. Lawyers for the 5 men submitted a joint list on Monday, participants said. Although the prosecutors have begun negotiations, a senior Pentagon official known as the convening authority must approve any deal. That role is currently held by Colonel Jeffrey D. Wood of the Arkansas National Guard, who is also a lawyer in Little Rock, Arkansas, and was appointed to the civilian job by the Trump administration. Participants said the talks were expected to continue through the month to try to reach some understandings to present to Colonel Wood.
So the plea deals, the negotiations for them started by a Trump appointee, that Mr. Wood.
Mm-hmm.
He gets replaced by this chick, Susan Escalier or something.
Escalier, so, I'm assuming it's a French name.
Yeah, so she takes over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then she's the one who ends up carrying out this plea agreement. But again, this was all done under Trump, and allegedly the Biden administration had no idea that it happened. And then Friday, or was it Friday or today's Saturday, so this would have been yesterday, we get this news from Lloyd Austin. I want to give this a read. You don't have to read all this subject and stuff, but
from Lloyd Austin, I have determined that in light of the significance of the decision to enter into pretrial agreements with the accused in the above referenced case, responsibility for such a decision should rest with me as the superior convening authority under the Military Commissions Act of 2009. Effective immediately, I hereby withdraw your authority in the above referenced case to enter into a pretrial agreement and reserve such authority to myself. Effective immediately in the exercise of my authority, I hereby withdraw from the 3 pretrial agreements that you signed on July 31st, 2024 in the above referenced case. Lloyd Austin.
And so the Biden administration panics, and they do the only move they can, and they withdraw these plea deals, and Blinken, Lloyd Austin takes over as the convening authority. So we talked about this a little bit last night, and we'll just rehash it again today. This was done. This deal was started under Trump. It was carried out by, it was a Biden appointee technically, but you would think that if it was like a black hat or somebody working for the Biden administration, they would at least be aware of these deals taking place. But no, they get approved, they get taken out, and the narrative backlash that they got for giving a plea deal to the people who allegedly orchestrated the terrorist attacks on 9/11 was massive. And then all of a sudden they just do this about face. It shows the incompetence of the administration, and it also leaves people wondering, like, what the hell is going on? How did this even get approved in the first place? And how did they not know about it? It's a fascinating story.
It is. Now, let's start, in my opinion, we should probably start by talking about what are the stakes here. We're talking about some dudes who supposedly did 9/11, whatever. Let's just assume that's true. Okay. So we're talking about the difference between spending the rest of their lives in Guantanamo. I don't know what conditions are like there, but I assume it sucks. Or being put to death, and supposedly in accordance with the 8th Amendment, which means it'll be a quick death. Why on earth do they even care? Kill them. If I was in their spot, I'd be like, dude, kill me. Put me in front of a firing squad. That's fine. Just don't miss my heart.
I do believe that there was some, I think it was a Supreme Court ruling at some point that basically allowed these terrorists the right to like a somewhat fair trial and all these appeals and everything. Like, it's crazy to think that these are the people that allegedly orchestrated and planned the most infamous terrorist attack of all time, and they're still in prison. And like, what the hell is going on? It doesn't make sense. The whole thing about it is weird, but then it gets a little less weird when you start to wonder, okay, well, what if these guys weren't the actual ones behind it? And maybe discovery in a case like this would be an issue for organizations like the CIA or the FBI, or maybe some of these other intel agencies involved, or maybe Mossad. I don't know. Like, it's a fascinating saga, and there's more to this too. I want to get into some of the history a little bit about some of this, but yeah, we can keep talking about this if you have anything else to add.
That's a huge. These are all huge questions, because as fake as all of this might be, those buildings coming down on 9/11, that's not fake. And I would very much like to have some freaking disclosure as to what actually happened on that day.
Yeah,
and I don't believe for a second that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I think it was today or yesterday I saw something on Twitter. Somebody was talking about Building 7. Like, there was a controlled demolition of Building 7 that took place, and they needed an excuse to do it. And the reason the Building 7 thing is because it housed all the files and documents and everything for the DOD, CIA, FBI, like all these different agencies. It was the day after, I think it was Donald Rumsfeld come out and says, like, yeah, we're just missing like $2.7 trillion or something insane.
No, it literally was something like $2.3 trillion. We just think it. I thought it was in my wallet, but I left it somewhere. And then because Catherine Austin Fitts tells this story, that she remembers freaking Rumsfeld saying, we're missing literally $2.3 trillion. And she said, there's finally going to be accountability. It was September 10th, 2001.
And then they have a controlled demolition, but you need a reason to do that controlled demolition. And so, the conspiracy of 9/11, it's becoming more prominent, I would say. Like, more people are like, okay, who's really behind 9/11? What was the motive here? Like, all these things. And then when it translates to the people at Gitmo, what's really going on? But in my research for this, I came across an older article. Okay. And this article's pretty fascinating. There's some interesting talk in here that gave me some very, like, it got the Devolution jimmies rustling a little bit. And so we're going to read through a few different separate sections, and then I'll post this in the chat for you guys.
So this is from the New York Times, all the way back from October 24th, 2004. Threats and responses, tough justice after terror, a secret rewriting of military law. Washington. In early November 2001, with Americans still staggered by the September 11th attacks, a small group of White House officials worked in great secrecy to devise a new system of justice for the new war they had declared on terrorism. Determined to deal aggressively with the terrorists they expected to capture, the officials bypassed the federal courts and their constitutional guarantees, giving the military the authority to detain foreign suspects indefinitely and prosecute them in tribunals not used since World War II. The plan was considered so sensitive that senior White House officials kept its final details hidden from the president's national security advisor, Condoleezza Rice, and the Secretary of State, Colin L. Powell, officials said. It was so urgent, some of those involved said that they hardly thought of consulting Congress.
So I found this interesting because the last week, or this last week, I went on ChatGPT. I'm trying to use it more, Patrick. I know you use it quite a bit. And so I've been trying to get more into it. And I started with debating it essentially on devolution. Okay. So I'm like, have you heard of the theory? It gives me, tells me about it. It's like, okay, disprove it. And then I start we're getting this back and forth. And I'm getting it to acknowledge well, yes, okay, I guess, devolution could be possible. But a lot of the reasoning, one of the main reasons it keeps coming back to is something like this couldn't be done without Congress in the know. When it has its own misconception of what devolution actually is, which is kind of fascinating. It's the cowboy hat version of devolution, which is what's upsetting to me.
Why, John? Whatever do you mean?
Yeah, we won't go down that hole right now. But
okay,
anyway,
Patty.
but this is this right here. When they were implementing these military tribunals back after 9/11, they did so without approval from a lot of key areas. Some people in the administration didn't know, and Congress wasn't even really kept in the loop on what was going on. And so we're going to skip down to let's start here.
The administration's claim of authority to set up military commissions, as the tribunals are formally known, was guided by a desire to strengthen executive power, officials said. Its legal approach, including the decision not to apply the Geneva Conventions, reflected the determination of some influential officials to halt what they viewed as the United States' reflexive submission to international law. In devising the new system, many officials said they had Osama bin Laden and other leaders of al-Qaeda in mind, but in picking through the hundreds of detainees at Guantanamo Bay, military investigators have struggled to find more than a dozen they can tie directly to significant terrorist acts, officials said. While important Qaeda figures have been captured and held by the CIA, administration officials said that they were reluctant to bring those prisoners before tribunals they still consider unreliable.
Two more paragraphs here.
Everybody who was in the process had, in my mind, a white hat on. Timothy E. Flanagan.
So I thought that was interesting because we're going to get to another part here in a little bit, and you'll see why I think that's interesting. But how often do you hear people say that, especially back then? Was a white hat, black hat type thing? And I know it's a little different here, and I'll let you finish this. But I thought this stood out to me. Everybody involved with this process, in my mind, had a white hat on. Okay, white hats. Think white hats. But keep going with this.
Timothy E. Flanagan, the former deputy White House counsel, said in an interview, they were not out to be cowboys or create a radical new legal regime. What they wanted to do was use existing legal models to assist in the process of saving lives, to get information. And the war on terror is all about information.
And I feel like we're in an info war right now. And the whole thing that Trump did was using existing models and used what was in place already to save lives. So, and let's go down to in the days. It's a long article, so that's why I'm not making you guys. We're not going to go through it all. Let's. We got 3 or 4 paragraphs here.
In the days after the September 11th attacks, Mr. Flanagan sought advice from the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel on the, quote, legality of the use of military force to prevent or deter terrorist activity inside the United States, according to a previously undisclosed department memorandum that was reviewed by the New York Times. The 20-page response came from John C. Yu, a 34-year-old Bush appointee with a glittering resume and a reputation as perhaps the most intellectually aggressive among a small group of legal scholars who had challenged what they saw as the United States' excessive deference to international law. On September 21st, 10 days after 9/11, Mr. Yu wrote that the question was how the Constitution's Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure might apply if the military used, quote, deadly force in a manner that endangered the lives of United States citizens.
And but before, there's a couple more paragraphs here, but I do think this is an interesting point. Is, in my opinion, I do think there was a certain kind of military force, but it's not the military force that you're typically accustomed to when you think military force. This was fifth generation warfare that I believe Trump implemented with devolution. And while I do think there was a certain level of endangerment that was kind of forced upon us by allowing Biden to take office, because I do think there are some real effects with the border and stuff. And I know we can get into a debate about that situation or any of those situations all we want. But in my opinion, it's a risk, and there are real bad things that do happen. But if you frame this the way they're talking about this and deciding how to respond to the 9/11 terrorist attacks, but then instead think about it in implementing something like in continuity government plan, it makes it a lot more interesting.
Absolutely. By the way, the show 24 came out in November of 2001. And the entire premise of the show was, hey, there are always super duper bad guys trying to blow us all up. And if it weren't for people like the counterterrorism unit going around torturing people and finding things out and endangering Americans, we would all blow up in a nuclear conflagration or something like that. It was one of the most transparent, horrifying acts of propaganda by our government ever. And I freaking loved it. I never missed an episode.
Didn't you say, though, that like you've tried rewatching it recently and it like sucks now?
No, unwatchable. We were a child race in 2001. A dangerous, or as Q on Star Trek The Next Generation would say, we were a dangerous, savage child race.
That's fine. Okay, let's keep going here.
Mr. Yu listed an inventory of possible operations: shooting down a civilian airliner hijacked by terrorists, setting up military checkpoints inside an American city, employing surveillance methods more sophisticated than those available to law enforcement, or using military forces, quote, to raid or attack dwellings where terrorists were thought to be, despite risks that third parties could be killed or injured by exchanges of fire.
This next paragraph is, to me, one of the more impactful ones from this article, when it has to do with not only devolution, but also when you're thinking about that immunity ruling that just came out recently. So let's read this one.
Mr. Yu noted that those actions could raise constitutional issues, but said that in the face of devastating terrorist attacks, quote, the government may be justified in taking measures which in less troubled conditions could be seen as infringements of individual liberties. If the president decided the threat justified deploying the military inside the country, he wrote then, quote, we think that the Fourth Amendment should be no more relevant than it would be in cases of invasion or insurrection.
I thought that was fascinating. And it's an interesting thing to think about. It actually reminds me of Lincoln in my part 4. Here. Remember this when I quoted Lincoln? Do you want to read just this paragraph here?
Yeah. Lincoln made no secret of these actions, which he justified on the grounds that, quote, existing exigencies demand immediate and adequate measures for the protection of the national constitution and the national union. A year later, in response to charges of dictatorship, Lincoln insisted that, quote, it became necessary for me to choose whether, using only the existing means, agencies, and processes which Congress had provided, I should let the government fall at once into ruin, or whether, availing myself of the broader powers conferred by the Constitution in cases of insurrection, I would make an effort to save it with all its blessings for the present age and for posterity.
Very similar to what you said there, and that's
you mean the guy named Mr. U? Yes.
Yeah, not you.
Yeah.
At least I wish his name was she. Pretty interesting what she said.
I know.
But yeah, so I thought this article was fascinating. There's one more thing I want to point out, and let me get to that part right here. The idea, 2 paragraphs.
The idea of using military commissions to try suspected terrorists first came to Mr. Flanagan, he said in a phone call a couple of days after the attacks, from William P. Barr, the former Attorney General under whom Mr. Flanagan had served as head of the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel during the first Bush administration. Mr. Barr had first suggested the use of military tribunals a decade before to try suspects in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. Although the idea made little headway at the time, Mr. Barr said he reminded Mr. Flanagan that the legal counsel's office had done considerable research on the question. Mr. Flanagan had an aide call for the files. I thought it was a great idea, he recalled.
So the guy who first suggested using military tribunals back after 9/11 was our very own Bill Barr, the guy that I know he gets a lot of hate, but I still think the dude's a white hat. Don't want to have that debate right now either. But also,
well, you're not going to get any pushback from me on that. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is the tribunal stuff in the Q drops? Because I know that's a big thing within some of the Q community. I don't think there's tribunals going on right now. I don't think people have been executed at Gitmo. I don't think they're ongoing, any of that stuff. But I do think
there are no Q drops containing the word tribunal.
That's interesting. Why is everybody with the Q community so into that?
Well, maybe it's because the technical term is military commissions.
We'll try commissions in there.
All right. 0 posts found containing commissions.
What about Gitmo?
Let's do it. Gitmo. Bam. Got some Gitmos.
Okay. Do you want to pull them up on the screen?
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Drop search results. Gitmo. Okay. So we have Q drop number 4,834 of October 8th, 2020. And this is from, obviously anonymous. Now that Russia collusion is a proven lie, when do the trials for treason begin? Why are they not? Why is it? And the photo is called gitmolife.png. So that's not really, it's fine. Q drop number 4,213 of May 11th, 2020. And this
are there a lot
photo
of these?
Is named dclass. Not many.
Can you send me this link?
Yeah, I'm doing it now. You just go to qalerts.app and then you could search yourself.
Okay, let me do that.
And I'm sending you the link to this. Now, media keywords, meme depicting highway overpass signage, signs, Gitmo, town 2 miles, FISA. All right, so it's just describing it. These are not, there we go. Q drop number 3552 of July 30th, 2019. There's that 1 through 99 again. That's another thing we want to figure out. red_red linked prison death class _ Gitmo _ and then some kind of a video. Look at that.
Okay, the one that I think we'll go to 740 is it on there.
I hope
that's what I have pulled up here.
Okay, you pull it up.
Okay. This one here. Don't care about your sentence structure, just care to know how full Gitmo is going to be. Max cap, one other prison being prepped. Q. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so the fact that Bill Barr brought on as Trump's attorney general, he was the one who originally back in the day was discussing military tribunals. It was his idea, according to the article from 2004. I found that to be pretty fascinating. But I'm going to post that article in the chat again, and you guys should give it a read sometime in full because it's a pretty interesting article. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I got on the Gitmo stuff. I do expect this is one of those things we talk about declassification of stuff like the JFK, even Trump's assassination now, and who knows what else. But who actually did 9/11 is one of those things. And maybe we'll actually get that when Trump's back in. I don't know.
Maybe so, but let's look at this from a big picture point of view. The narratives that they sell us to get us to give away our rights. If those narratives were true, even I might consider giving the government the power to restrict rights. Like, for example, let's suppose for a moment that it was true that there was like invisible little monsters floating through the air, killing people, and that we transferred it to each other, the virus narrative. That was really true. Just walking into the same room, people could cause mass death. If that was really true, and it was imaginary, but if it was true, reasonable people would say we need to give up some of our rights to get through this crisis. The same could be true of prevalent Muslim terrorists lurking about trying to explode us. If that really were true, then maybe we give up some of our privacy. And that's how these narratives work. But what if something actually is real, such as a remorseless group of super criminals taking over every single media outlet in the world?
Transnational criminal organization.
Actual transnational criminal organizations hell-bent on subjugating society. Ones that could weaponize things like free speech. They could weaponize the entire Bill of Rights against us.
They can weaponize a fake
that
virus.
Damn clever.
They can weaponize a fake virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, and I do think basically what you're saying they're going to do with this upcoming election, they're going to use the fear of some attack or something to say what they did in Ukraine, like we're going to have to postpone these elections until we know with confidence that there's not going to be any terrorism done on some of these polling places.
Yep.
Or maybe it's just going to be a hack or something into the machines, because that's going to be our next topic here. But before we get into that, I do think we should talk about some rainfall.
Damn straight.
We need
rainfall, guys. Rainfall is the best lotion you're ever going to use. It's a healing aloe vera base followed by some really amazing plant oils, all virgin organic. It goes on your skin. It soaks right in. It makes dead skin tumble right off. And you guys have been buying it like crazy. So crazy, in fact, that I don't even know if we're going to have supplies all the way to the end of this amazing special that we're currently running, which is buy one, get one half off. That's right. You get two of them. And then the second one is 50% off. And if you use promo code Badlands, it's another 10% off of that. That sale ends right at the end of the weekend. That's right. Sunday, right at midnight, bam, sale's over. So take advantage right now. Go to epicminerals.net. That's epicminerals.net. Use promo code Badlands for an additional 10% off, and for the rainfall, the Epic Moisture Creamy Body Butter, and the amazing Zeolite Extra Heavy Metal Detoxifying Spray, which you should be taking every single day to heal yourself from all those poisons. Go to epicminerals.net, use promo code Badlands, and you get another 10% off. And it's buy one, get one half off. Take advantage of it now or while supplies last.
Awesome. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up, everybody.
Oh, yeah,
we appreciate that. And I just want to show this real quick before we do move on. This is what I'm talking about when I say Gitmo is expanding. I did see a couple comments about this in the chat, so I know most of you are probably aware of this. But again, Gitmo is still open. Biden promised to shut it down. Obama tried to shut it down. I'm surprised Obama couldn't, but it's still ongoing. They're developing a new military courtroom, and there's only like 39 inmates. I think it might even be a little less than that at this point in time. So just crazy.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's anything else on that? Otherwise, we can go into.
It's all going to tie in together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about this, because we've been told, if you guys recall, CISA, they're the ones in charge, tasked with securing our election or our critical infrastructure of the nation, the whole nation. One of those subsets is our election infrastructure, and they put out an advisory. And I think it's relevant for us to read, because we've been told that our election machines are not connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Yet somehow they are susceptible to DDoS attacks.
Oh, God. What's this? What is this publication called, by the way?
The actual publication. Well, here.
The domain, just whatever it is. Where'd you find it?
It's CISA.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
on
Okay,
CISA's website.
CISA.gov. Got it. Washington. Today, as part of their public service announcement series 2024 election cycle, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation jointly released, just so you know, DDoS attacks could hinder access to election information, would not prevent voting. This public service announcement is to raise awareness that distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks on election infrastructure or adjacent infrastructure that supports election operations could hinder public access to election information, but would not impact the security or integrity of election processes. The PSA is part of the agency's ongoing commitment to provide the public with information and the election infrastructure community with the support they need to run safe and secure elections. With Election Day less than 100 days away, it is important to help put into context some of the incidents the American public may see during the election cycle that, while potentially causing some minor disruptions, will not fundamentally impact the security or integrity of the democratic process, said CISA senior advisor Kate Conley. DDoS attacks are one example of a tactic that we have seen used against election infrastructure in the past and will likely see again in the future, but they will not affect the security or integrity of the actual election. They may cause some minor disruptions or prevent the public from receiving timely information. It is important to talk about these potential issues now because nefarious actors like our foreign adversaries or cyber criminals could use DDoS incidents to cast doubt on the election systems or processes. An informed public is key to neutralizing the impact of foreign influence, operations, and disinformation, which is why we put out this advisory on what a DDoS attack could and could not do.
Let's hold up there for a second because I want to show you this.
Stones on these freaking monsters.
Yeah, read just this first paragraph.
Okay, does DDoS require internet? According to the search results, DDoS attacks involve sending forged requests to a large number of computers that will reply to the requests using IP address spoofing to set the source address to that of the targeted victim. This implies that the attacking devices, typically compromised computers or IoT devices, Internet of Things, must be connected to the internet to participate in the attack. The service they're trying to deny is internet.
Yes. Which we are told that our machines are not connected to the internet. It's impossible for anybody to hack into that stuff. Yet we've seen repeatedly evidence that that's not true.
Well, okay. So, dude, listen, just let's be normies for a second and read the CISA thing in our head.
Normies.
I know, but put yourself in the mind of a normie. The normie's going to say, well, yeah, they explained that to you. What are you, an idiot? Don't you know that the election machines may not be connected to the internet, but the stuff that's nearby needs to be connected to the internet because bite me. That's exactly as far as they're going to think about this.
Probably.
It's a clever PSA, in my opinion.
It is. And I'm seeing this from a couple different places too. They're trying to preemptively justify a delayed result.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the key because they're going to need some time to figure out how many votes they need to steal in order to get Kamala over the hump. And so that's what they're doing here. They're trying to preemptively do this. It's total bullshit. We're probably going to see more of this stuff. The misinformation and disinformation stuff has already been ramped up too. So it's not surprising at all, but it is funny when they themselves contradict their previous selves about election information. And in this case, it's the machines being connected to the internet.
The only question I have about November 5th, well, the first question is going to be, can we have so much of a shit show that they have to cancel the election? That would be an interesting plot line. But if there is an election, will the media be so powerful still that they get to decide who won? Because that's all that ever happens.
Yeah.
The New York Times and CNN decide the presidency. Whoever they say won. Now, that's an exaggeration, of course. Fox News has to say okay too.
Yeah.
But I think that they all kind of they went in lockstep in 2020. Stunningly so. To the point where I pretty much am permanently sus of even a great guy like Dan Bongino for not immediately resigning from Fox News after the stolen election.
I do like Dan Bongino, though.
I like him too. He's impossible not to like. But you get my point.
Yeah, the media's role in all this is to build the consensus behind whoever is chosen to be the winner. The party of false consensus. That's what the media is. They are going to tell everybody. And at this point, for this election, we're hoping through the Great Awakening, and the whole reason Trump stepped away is to get enough people to understand that our elections are false and fake, and that they won't put up with it. What that means, I don't know. Like, nobody knows. Nobody knows how this is going to play out. Trump is even going back and forth, and that's what I think is funny, because sometimes he will go out there and say, like, straight up, they're not going to be able to steal this election. We will make this too big to rig. They can't steal it. We have it fortified. And then he'll come out and say something like this.
Stock market gain, they think, is because looks like we're going to win the election. And I don't know what's going to happen with the election. You know, they cheat like hell, and I don't know what's going to happen. But if we win it, this country is going to be boomtown. It's going to be booming like it never boomed before.
Doesn't sound as confident. He doesn't know what's going to happen. So I don't know either. But it's certainly going to be fascinating to see the media try to spin this. Imagine what they've done, turning Kamala into some sort of generational icon the last week. It's going to be that on steroids, but it's going to reek of much more bullshit.
Can I just say something? Has anybody come up with a theory as to why Donald Trump picked J.D. Vance?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm in the middle of it. It's interesting. I'm like in the middle. I don't know, because I see the arguments being made against the J.D. Vance pick, and because of Peter Thiel, and I see the arguments being made for J.D. Vance, and some of those are even because of
Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel. It's fascinating. I don't know, but I trust Trump, and whatever that reason is, hey, I'm good with it. I'm good to see this play out. I have heard from some people in this community. I think Dirk McGurkin said, like, his dad was basically red pilled because of the JD Vance pick.
What?
Yeah.
I need to know more about that. That's interesting. Because to me, JD Vance just seems like kind of a run-of-the-mill, based in red-pilled, conning conservative guy. And not particularly charismatic. He seems okay. I don't have I don't recoil from the man or anything like that, but it just wasn't a very sexy pick.
This is what Dirk said, and I hope it's okay that I'm reading this, Dirk, because it was a DM, but he said, I just got off the phone with my boomer dad. The JD Vance selection has red-pilled him. Uneffing believable. He said he started to look at Trump from a different angle, past all of the negative things he's heard about him. And he was reminded of what it was like to be a Catholic Democrat in Kansas back in the 1950s.
Hey, you know that moment in Watchmen when Dr. Manhattan explains that he's become so removed from humanity, he doesn't even really understand their wants, needs, or desires? I think I might be at that point. I can't even conceive of being red-pilled by a J.D. Vance pick.
I don't know. I mean, Trump himself has said that the VP, and I think he just said it when he was talking in front of the Black Journalist Conference or whatever. He said it again, that the VP, it's like a meaningless position. Like, it doesn't matter. And he said that
matters
before
if
when
the president dies.
Yes, but in terms of like everything else, he says it's meaningless. So whatever his reason is for Vance, I think we will. I mean, we'll obviously find out at some point. Potentially he could be the future of the MAGA movement. That could be true. It could also be true that Trump is putting in a spotlight so that things get exposed, because now, like, as Trump's running mate, he has the biggest spotlight on him he'll have until he eventually runs as president. And maybe that's a way to expose him so he doesn't become the future of the MAGA movement, because some people are propping him up to be that. I don't know what the reason is, but we will find out at some point.
Yeah. And I'm not a big purity guy. You can stick I'll vote for a Ben Shapiro if I have to. I'm willing to pick the lesser of two evils. It's not a big deal. That's pretty much all you're ever doing when it comes to who governs you. I am curious about the nuts and bolts of that decision, though.
Yeah, and some of that stuff we may never be privy to. I just, to me, like, I'm so on board with Trump. Like, doesn't matter who his VP pick is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm going to vote for him. And that's why I think it's so funny when previously we'd have these discussions of people be like, well, if Trump picks that person, I'm not voting for him. That's the single issue voter that we were talking about last night. Like, if Trump doesn't do the thing that I want him to do, then he doesn't have my support. This country can burn to the ground. Like, that's essentially what you're saying. It's ridiculous.
It's funny. It's funny. I said that about Mitt Romney in 2012 during the primaries. I was like, you fucking motherfuckers. If you fuckers nominate fucking Mitt Romney, I'm going to vote for Obama. I voted for Romney.
Yeah. Fuck Romney. But
yeah,
everybody voted.
I voted for Romney, guys. So,
one more thing I just want to point out, and I haven't gotten all the way through this. And I've actually read it before, but I was going to read it again. But I have my kids this weekend, so I didn't have a ton of time. But I was going through the Biden administration national cybersecurity strategy, and I just want to point out CISA is in here quite a bit, and the reason this is I think important to point out, because this is a problem. What we're about to read here, it's not much, but because we've covered this extensively, and I'll remind you of it as we go through. But this is a major problem that we need to figure out a way to fix, because it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like, there needs to be a certain level, I believe, of public-private partnerships, but the way it's currently established and the people making the decisions and how this is implemented, it's a cancer, because the same corrupt companies that are destroying are the ones that are being chosen to be the private companies that are partnered with our government to carry out all these essential functions that have to do with our critical infrastructure. Like a CrowdStrike being, how in my part 5 we talk about Dominion and Smartmatic and all those different companies being on the EIS SCC.
Yeah.
They have another one of those private groups, the IT SCC, Sector Coordinating Council, and CrowdStrike is on that. And it's set up the exact same way, where it's a financial conflict of interest. The government knows about it. They sign a waiver to allow it, and they do all this stuff without any oversight. And they're the ones implementing all the IT infrastructure for our entire country. But let's just read this one, maybe even sentence. I don't know.
CISA is the National Coordinator for Critical Infrastructure Security and Resilience. In this role, CISA coordinates with sector risk management agencies, SRMAs, to enable the federal government to scale its coordination with critical infrastructure owners and operators across the United States. SRMAs have a day-to-day responsibility and sector-specific expertise to improve security and resilience within their sectors.
Yeah, so CISA is in charge of coordinating all of these owners and operators of our critical infrastructure across the country, and it's toxic. I don't know what the fix here is, but going through this, like, CISA is being embedded everywhere. We went through it a while ago when they were embedded on the ports, and then just shortly thereafter that we have China hacking ports, and we have that boat that rammed into a bridge, and like all these things. And CISA is the deep state. They're the deep state, one of the deep state intelligence agencies. They're a 4-letter agency, not a 3-letter one, but they're deep state, and they're going to do the same thing and allow bad things to happen, or do the bad things themselves with this upcoming election. So I know we all know for a fact there's going to be some level of shenanigans. I just don't think we quite know what approach they're going to take, whether it's the terrorist attack or something, or hacking from China to prevent the voting, or if it's just a major steal or whatever it's going to be. There's going to be shenanigans, and CIS is going to be a part of it and also covering it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's face it, CrowdStrike is instrumental for that. And just in case you were wondering, and I know you weren't, but now you will be, CrowdStrike is an anagram for wicked sort, tricked sow, which is a female pig, or sword trick. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Wait, what? Say that again.
CrowdStrike has many weird anagrams, like wicked sort, or tricked sow, or sword trick. Also, dark cow right. So
how do you find? Is that a ChatGPT thing?
Oh yeah.
You look up anagrams and stuff.
Give me potentially occult anagrams for CrowdStrike, and it's cranking them out for me.
That is funny. Okay, well, that's like the primary 2 topics I had for tonight. But I do have a couple videos, and then I want to talk about the full control thing. Well, let's start with this. We've been getting quite a few I mean, I'm the one who always says it's a coincidence when this stuff like this happens, but we've had, the Badlands thing from Trump that's in our intro video, like Badlands, that's a hell of a name. Right now he's been talking about Bernie Bright being a flamer or something like that. And then we got this from JD Vance today.
In just a few months, I believe this state of Georgia is going to lead a great American restoration, a restoration of safety, of prosperity, and yes, of hope. And
JD Vance, big fan of the Great American Restoration Tour, guys. Tickets are on sale. I think we still have in-person ones available, but definitely get your virtual ones. It's going to be blasted starting in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. I'm going to be bringing some stuff up there too. It's going to be fun.
Oh, cannot wait. Cannot wait. But get your virtual tickets. We're going to do probably 2 exclusive live streams this week for ticket holders. So those are always fun. We'll talk about whatever you guys want. It's very engaging with the chat. We'll post about those here or email those to ticket holders. So make sure you guys get your tickets. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. You get exclusive access to all of the content. And behind the scenes stuff, there's a Telegram group you get to chat with, and we'll take your questions if you have them. It's a really good time, and the chat groups stay live until the next SCART. So get those virtual tickets. The link's on my Twitter or badlandsmedia.tv/events.
Oh yeah.
Then we got hold up. Oh, we could talk about this. We're about to be drug into another war. I don't remember the exact. I haven't been following the Middle East conflict. There's just so much going on, and we have other people in Badlands who focus on that a lot. But I'm pretty sure Israel carried out some attacks and killed some of the primary terrorists or leaders of Iran. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway, right now Iran threatened to do a bunch of shit back, and so 4,000 United States Marines and sailors are headed to the Middle East right now.
Whatever. How do you know that, Douglas?
I did see reporting from this from other people too.
Okay. Whatever.
You just don't believe it?
I don't believe any reports that I get anywhere, period. I have a policy, and I think that we're going to, certainly the narrative is what we're reading about. Number one, if there's any terrorist attack on any of us in any way, I'm not going to blame the innocent foreigners that our owners are going to tell us did it. And I will not support any military action anywhere under any circumstances other than rounding up the people who currently control our government and putting them on trial for crimes against humanity.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you think about the Secret Service not being able to protect Trump, how can we even trust any of these 3-letter agencies to protect our country as a whole, especially with the migration stuff coming in? But yeah, we're not gonna. I don't know. I don't think we're going to be blaming the country. Maybe some of the country will be, but this is something I anticipate. Like, there's going to be a World War III that's going to narratively kick off here before the election. That's something Trump has been talking about pretty much since he left office. Since before he left office, he was talking about that. If you put the wrong guy in there, you're going to have World War III. The economy's going to tank, which is another thing I think is coming. I was anticipating it being China invading Taiwan, because it was back in 2022. Trump kept saying that. Well, interestingly enough, he was saying that about it's going to happen after the Olympics. And I guess technically that could happen now and it'd be after the Olympics, but I don't know.
Man, take Taiwan, right? Well, what is that? That's just a clown world stronghold right on China's border. The fact that they put up with it this long means that we have been that clown world is an incredibly scary thing that people are afraid of. And I think they're starting to be less and less afraid of it, which means that China's going to take back Taiwan because they're not afraid anymore.
Yeah, maybe we'll see both. Maybe we'll see China invade Taiwan. We still have the ongoing conflict, I believe, with Russia and Ukraine. And then this little Middle East war. Like, we're going to have all 3 happening at the same time, potentially. And then Trump comes in as the peacemaker, and Bay Theater Dave is North Dakota invading South Dakota. We are on August 14th for GART.
Fun times.
That's what we're doing.
You're going to drive, aren't you, John?
I am going to drive.
Nice.
It's not too far.
Okay.
about 4 hours or so. And I got a whole bunch of merch I'll bring down since we haven't had merch at any of our events. So we're going to try to do that this time.
Dude, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, what else? Oh, Joe Rambo, I saw him in the chat. He had this post today. It's always funny. Like, I don't consider any of this stuff to be comms unless it comes from Trump himself or people that I think are in the team, you know? But I do find it interesting when media groups say things like this because it's getting that narrative. It's like seeding that narrative, you know? And I never think that's a bad thing.
Back in office. That's right. The 47th Commander-in-Chief. He's the 45th Commander-in-Chief. Probably the 46th, if you know what I mean.
Should have been if he wasn't, but he was, you know.
Yeah. So also, those of you guys watching and on the chat.
Yeah, if you guys caught that, he basically implies that he's the 46th as well. So love that. And then, okay, let's have our final discussion.
Okay.
About the full control. Let me find, where did I say this? So I posted this thing about the two men competing to be the world's greatest female boxer at the Olympics. And our good buddy David Becker had a comment in here, and this is what I think is it's an interesting discussion, and that's why we're going to have it. There's no partial control. It's either full control or none at all. Throughout the Q drops are the words "Patriots are in full control." I think you sent me a link to.
So yeah, I sent you the link to Q drop number 466. We are in full control. I think at another point it does say Patriots are in full control. It's there for sure. I mean, Q also says that the earth isn't flat. So, you know, it's not like it's always correct.
I love how that's your baseline. But okay, it does say full control. But the way I view this, and I've never been a believer in the full control thing, because I don't think that's possible in the type of continuity government plan that I think was executed. But again, I don't know everything. And there are people out there a lot smarter than me that do think there's full control going on. The way I see it happening is I think the Patriots have full control of certain things. Like when they issued Executive Order 13961 and reorganized and reprioritized the national essential functions, I think however they did that, I think they have full control of those key ones that they need to control in order to carry out the operation they're carrying out. I think they probably have full control of some of these, whether it's the social media, some sort of messaging system or whatever they got. They're in an information war where we've seen such a turnaround and such a great awakening. They obviously have some level of control there. And maybe it's even full control. I mean, Elon owns Twitter, his connections to the DoD, the highest paid contractor for the DoD under Trump. That's significant. Maybe they literally have full control of the messaging there too. Yeah. That's how I see it. I think they have full control, but it's not over everything. It's over little things. But then you do see things now and then. It's like, holy shit! Like they can't be this stupid. Maybe they're literally. Maybe they are accurate. You know what I mean? Like there is stuff that gets me to question it, but I always come back to that baseline. I think it's impossible. It's not operationally feasible to maintain that level of control without that stuff actually being leaked or compromised in some way.
Full control is a term that can be interpreted in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yep.
I fall more on the side of full control because the show that we're seeing is so clownish. It gives me the impression that it is controlled by people who wish to see everything disclosed. The enemy, but there's also an old saying, you know, the enemy always gets a vote. Yeah. Do we think that if full control is full control, so white hats did COVID? The enemy hasn't been doing anything successfully. There are no enemy operations that have succeeded. I don't know the answer to that question. If I had to guess, if put a gun to my head and said, Patrick, answer me now, have any enemy operations succeeded? I would say yes. They probably have had operations that have succeeded. So if I say that an enemy operation has probably succeeded at some point during this info war, this strange war, whatever you want to call it, then I am not saying that Patriots are in full control. I think by saying Patriots are in full control, Q is telling us, look, guys, we've got this. We've gamed this out. We know what they can do. Be patient, but we know how this ends. Burning Bright puts it this way. The Patriots are the infinite player on the game board, and the enemy is the finite player on the game board. They still get to make moves, but the infinite player knows eventually it ends in checkmate. That's how I would interpret it.
Yeah, I almost envision it like me playing checkers with my kid, my son. It's like he's not going to beat me. Like I'm going to win that game, but you know, he's gonna do some things. But I have total control over how that game gets played out in a certain way. But yeah, that's the way I see it. I think I don't know which stuff they carried out. I do think the enemy's done some things, and I always come back to this too. And we've talked about this before. It's the morality question. Like, if the bad things that have actually happened, and I do think there is some. I know a lot of people like to question whether some things are fake, and that's fine. It's hard to prove some of this stuff, like either way. But I do believe personally that there are bad things that have happened. Like, I think somebody got shot at the rally a couple weeks back and died. If it's full control, literal full control, and that means full control over everything, then that's the good guys, right? Doing that stuff. And they're responsible for that stuff. And if that's the case, are we okay? Are we justifying and celebrating like the people we call good guys doing bad things just to replace other people who also do worse things? Like, is that's a morality type question that I struggle with, and I don't think that's not the guys that I'm the guys I'm rooting for. They did things to protect us to an extent, but the bad guys are going to be the ones making the bad moves that do the bad things, and some of that stuff is out of our control. But some of that stuff is needed to get us through the awakening too. You know what I mean? That was a word salad. I'm sorry.
No, it was not a word salad at all. I know exactly what you're struggling with. Chris struggles with the same thing. I struggle with it less than either of you. So, Chris,
you give less fucks, though.
Maybe. But the way I look at it is very simple. Devolution itself is a massive deception. Massive. I mean, just
for sure.
An overwhelming deception.
For sure.
Sun Tzu tells us that all warfare is deception. And both sides of this conflict, in my opinion, I can't prove it, both sides in this conflict at the top are capable of nearly perfect deception.
For sure.
Constantly. Another way of putting it would be that we're watching a war of magician versus magician. Truly the greatest magicians this world has ever known. They possess all of the abilities of hypnosis, of propaganda, of stagecraft, of disguise, of special effects, of music. They could probably figure out a way to project a floating whale into the middle of a stadium. That's the power of their powers of deception. So I have to stay real flexible with what I say is actually happening, because they have the ability to kill a dude in front of us in the stands and have that dude not really be dead, or have that dude not really exist. So I have to keep all of that in mind. Now, does that mean I think everything is a deception? No, but I have to keep that in mind at all times. So what is this war like? Well, the enemy is going to brainwash us and use deception to keep us enslaved. Are the good guys going to be able to play it straight and still win this war? No freaking way. You cannot beat those enemies playing it as Mr. Dudley Do-Right. It'll never work.
Yeah. And I see exactly what you're saying. And I think to an extent I agree with you. I know both sides use deception. That's what PSYOPs are. We have the fourth PSYOP group, I think, is playing a huge major role in what's going on here. But I also think there's a way that you can use that and have like almost truth PSYOPs, right? Like you can weaponize information and it be true information. It doesn't always have to be a lie, right? And I also know the world is not all like butterflies and rainbows. You know what I mean? Like bad things exist in this world. Bad people exist in this world. And a lot of times we talk about this being a fight of like good versus evil. And so I think the evil people are going to do evil things. And that's why we need to rid ourselves of them. And I understand in warfare bad things happen. I'm hoping that the way this has gone is that the bad things that have happened are because of the bad guys doing those bad things and not the good guys doing those bad things to just get us to recognize that the bad things are happening, when they're the ones carrying out some of those bad things. It just does not sit well with me.
Okay, well, here's another thing. What if they're not really the bad guys and the good guys? What if they are really two competing oligarchic factions, one of which just happens to like the common people a little bit better than the other ones do?
I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but I have to consider all these things. I'm rooting for the Trump side to win.
Yeah.
Big time. I really want them to. I want them to become the new executive branch of the United States government. I want them to figure out a way to rip out all those horrible electronic voting machines and get us back to a paper ballot system that's harder to game and harder to cheat in. And then maybe, just maybe, the people will vote for people who are slightly less horrifying than the people who currently occupy our existing positions of power.
Yeah, it really does. When you said that, it really hit me that we need to have our focus on your local communities, like the ground up stuff, the local action, national impact, the devolution sandwich. It really is on us to do what you can to get involved and participate in this, because I mean, if what you said is just one group of oligarchs replacing another one, they just happen to like the people more, that isn't good enough. We need to get this to a point where the government is actually given back to we the people, like we were promised it would be by Trump in 2016 and multiple times since. That's the way it should be. We need to get our sovereignty back.
Yeah, we do. And one of the ways that we have to do that is to be self-reliant. Right now, we are pretty much, even the smart ones among us, even us based in red-pilled patriots, we're dependent on a system controlled by very corrupt people.
100%.
One of the ways to get around that would be to be less dependent on it, to take control of our local water districts, to take control of our homeowners associations, to figure out where it is on the school board that these levers are being pressed to put all this trash into our schools, to go into our churches and find out which ones of our clergy are men of God and which one are merely hirelings doing a job for a paycheck, which is very much a real thing. And we're not doing that. In fact, if you look at what we're doing right now, we're focusing on national stuff. We do enjoy watching the macro picture and all that. And it's grubby work on the ground, figuring out how to become less dependent on the system. I think another thing that we can focus on is just here and there, seeing if we can find a little goodness in the system. There are good people who work in the system. When you go to your local Bank of America, everybody who works there isn't trying to enslave the world, and all the way on up the pyramid. Most of those people didn't sign up to the job to enslave the world. It's a system, and it's a system that keeps a great many of us alive who wouldn't be able to survive in the wilderness. So baby steps is the way I look at it. And I think that replacing these god-awful people who have somehow managed to infiltrate every aspect of the top and replacing them with people who actually give a shit about the American people would be a really good first step.
Yeah. One thing we know we have taken back is our lotion with Rainfall.
Damn straight, my friend. Putting it on all the time and the dead skin tumbles right off. Joe Rambo is selling Rainfall on his show too.
Awesome. But right now you're using
Rainfall affiliate.
You're using Badlands promo code right now. But thank you, Rambo.
Yes, promo code Badlands. And not only that, guys, the buy one, get one half off thing, you have to go proceed to checkout, and then it takes the buy one, half one doesn't happen until you proceed to checkout. So just fun fact.
I do want to address this comment, though, Joe, because it's a good one. Do you want to read that quick, Patrick?
Absolutely. Rambo and friends. Acceptable losses is the most difficult concept to grasp, but we do it every time we go to war over lies. What is it worth to save freedom? Logical thinking shouldn't be affected by emotion at all.
I agree with this. To me, it's how are those acceptable losses happening? Because yes, in war, I know there are going to be losses. But is it the good guys creating those losses to get the result that is needed? If the good guys have full control and they unleashed COVID and the vaccines and all these things on us to get us through the awakening, is that any different than the Bush administration doing 9/11 to go get oil and whatever the hell they were doing in the Middle East? Is that any different?
Dude, It's freaking, it's a, what do you call it? A train car problem. You're on a train and you have control over one switch. You can switch tracks. On the track you're currently on, it's going to kill 5 people because they're all strapped to the track. But if you switch it over, there's another track that's only going to kill 1 person. So do you pull the lever? Well, if you pull the lever, you made a choice to kill that person. If you do nothing, you had nothing to do with it. You're just a passenger on this plane, on this train.
Yeah.
We're going to face, I think the people at the top, even good people, do face moral questions like that from time to time. And they don't have the luxury of treating it academically.
Yeah, the way I see it being done though is like they have supercomputers. They've gamed this out. They have read like they've done the the loss cost benefit analysis, whatever they use, risk analysis for all this stuff. They've gamed it out, and that's essentially what they're doing. But the way I see the control, and I come back to Chris's analogy with the baby in the playpen, right? Like devolution it's put this administration and the enemy into a playpen. They can still move around and do the things in the pen, but there's certain things they can't get to and can't touch. They're still going to do their thing. They're going to throw shit around, throw tantrums and all whatever. Bad things are going to happen that they're going to do, and they're going to be allowed to happen as long as it happens within that the structure of the pen. That's how I see things going out. But again, it's a fun discussion to have because so many people see it so many different ways and make so many great points. Like our chat's on fire tonight.
This chat's always on fire, man.
That's true. That's very true. You know what? On that note, we should probably get to some of our rants because we got.
I have them all pulled up, dude. I pulled them up before the show even went live.
I'm gonna check the boost. And if
by the way,
or go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I
was just gonna say, if you're tuning in late, make sure you guys go to the beginning because we talked about the Gitmo stuff at the beginning, and it was very interesting, and the CISA stuff too. But especially the Gitmo stuff, fascinating. Discussions. Make sure you rewatch the beginning of this episode.
By the way, I got some spooky info. So during this stream, I asked ChatGPT to give me some anagrams for CrowdStrike, and it came up with dark cow right. So I typed dark cow right into Google, and the very first result is the Wikipedia article for red heifer. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the red heifer is supposedly one of the signs. Could be wrong about that. Those of you who know about that stuff, look on into it. CrowdStrike's name is significant, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they're also a bunch of assholes.
That too.
That's interesting.
Dark cow right.
I'm looking up red heifer right now.
First result, if you just type in dark cow right. All right, so I'll get to some super chats. $2 Banan 81. Happy birthday to John. John, happy birthday to you in about an hour and 5 minutes. You will be 1 year older.
Yeah.
Very cool. And it'll also be Barack Obama's birthday.
Oh, fuck that guy. Why do you have to remind me?
I know, right? $20. Best nonny ever. Oh, also today, the 3rd, Joanne Pappas' birthday. Happy birthday, Joanne.
Happy birthday, Joe. We do have a couple boosts. I want to read here quick. Was 27th, was that last?
I don't know. Well,
yeah, I think you read some of these. Okay, let's do from Nikki. She says, want to give a big shout out, $30. Want to give a big shout out to the Tennessee Badlanders who came out to the meetup today in Greenville. It was such a pleasure meeting all of you. Love Badlands Media and all of you Badlanders out there. PG, there may have been some flat earth talk.
Nice. I've got to go to another one of these meetups. I missed the one in Dallas because of the freaking hurricane nonsense.
This is an interesting one. From Makes Sense to Me, $20. Thank you for all you do. I'm struggling with two opposite dynamics. A, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation, is probably correct, versus there are many Bidens wearing a mask. I'm struggling with this dynamic.
Okay. I'd like to start with saying Occam's razor is one of the most misquoted things ever. Occam's razor is a reasoning engine that says this: all things being equal, the explanation that contains the fewest assumptions tends to be correct. And I would argue that Biden being in a mask is a much freer thinking way with fewer assumptions. All I've got to go on is that I've got a TV presenting me with moving pictures. What am I looking at there? Is that a dude in a mask? Or is it Joseph Robinette Biden, this guy with this very well-defined history? I would argue you're assuming more by saying you know that that's Joseph Robinette Biden.
I mean, there's assumptions both ways, I guess.
Indeed.
That's what's fun about this, because like you can look at the same thing, and this is why I love the two dynamics of the 2 power hours, because everybody looks at the same thing and they look at it from different sides, different approaches, different baselines, different assumptions, and it's fantastic. That's why I think we get the most out of it, because we can explore everything in a different way, and that's why I'm very excited for Saturday's live power hour from Guard. It's always a fun time.
Dude, it's so much fun. And we I think the last one we talked about fake tits as an analogy for the truth. So there's that.
Kyle talked a lot about fake tits at that one.
He did indeed. $20, best nonny ever. Happy birthday, John. God bless. Thank you so much. $10, Gizmo's mom. Happy birthday, John. Thank you.
Thanks for the love, guys.
$1, Dirk McGurkin, just saying hi. $5, Foxo1. The plea deal, then reversal, makes me think Devo proof.
Again, it's one of those contradictions. They had no idea it happened. They were clearly reversing that plea deal to make up for an obvious narrative mistake that they didn't even see coming. And it was carried out and implemented, initiated by a Trump appointee. Like, it seems like a Trump move for the narrative effects, and then the Biden administration reversed it to try to make up for it.
$5, L Cheek 27. John Kirby looks like he could sell my pillows like a boss. Who's John Kirby again?
The spokesperson for the DOD that was on with Brett Baier that we showed.
Oh,
earlier.
yeah.
He does look like a pillow biter. Is that what you're talking about? Fox on?
Maybe.
Or no, L Cheek.
$5, FV native plea deal narrative deployment to renew mandate for death penalty and outrage for the crimes of 9/11. Then, when proof comes of actual orchestrators, there is no ability to retract punishment mandate. Indeed.
I like that. Like, if you piss off enough people, like, oh my gosh, we're not going to get the death penalty for the people that orchestrated 9/11, and then later comes out who actually did it, and like it'll just like everybody just got pissed off again about it.
Why would we get pissed off about whether they get the death penalty or not? Life in Gitmo is way worse than a painless death.
I agree with that, but the narrative that was being flung around, and this came from Trump's camp too, was the Biden administration gave the people who committed this heinous terrorist attack a plea deal, and they're not being executed when everybody's calling for their execution. It's like their incompetence, all these things, but it just got everybody got the jimmies rustled about giving them the death penalty.
It is interesting. It's very much about the mind war. $5, Muslims don't fear death but crave revenge. A plea deal means info was shared. Now is a perfect opportunity for them to get revenge against the real perpetrators of 9/11. We have it all with receipts. Maybe we do. I just want to know, does anybody think that there's a real guy, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, sitting in Gitmo? Because the only evidence we have of his existence is a rather comical picture of him having been rousted out of bed. Unless I'm wrong. $5, Rambo and Friends. No name. Done in 30. Every dog has its day. He did not leave on his own terms. Probably has a lot to do with it. What is the punishment for treason? That is a Q drop. Thank you very much, Rambo. $10. Yeah. Counterinsurgent. John, you should look at drop number 520 again. Class_EO_ open bracket 2 in brackets greater than missing 1 greater than missing 2 greater than missing 3 find missing 3. Q drop number 520.
Check it out.
By the way, in the search, I think you type in pound 520 to pull up that drop.
Okay.
$2, Dirk McGurkin. It will be a deadly virus only spread by touching a same-day ballot. Very nice. $2, best nonny ever. Just ordered rainfall. Have the body butter. Thank you so much, best nonny ever. The rainfall daily use anytime you like. Body butter is very thick. Obviously, it goes on really well at nights for It's for deep, deep hydration. Thank you so much. $2, Dirk McGurkin, dusting off one of my old faves. Daylight savings time changes on Sunday, November 3rd. Perfect opportunity to hide some programming fuckery in the extra hour. Boy, that's so true. But when doesn't daylight saving end usually right around the same time each year? I mean, same basic time. So it's probably pretty frequent that daylight savings time conflicts with elections, unless I'm wrong.
I don't know.
$2, Dirk McGurkin. Everyone knows daylight savings time is fake and gay, but they still won't get rid of it. It's interesting, isn't it? Which one of the saving, which one should we keep? The time we have now or the time we're going to get in November? Which is the one we should keep permanent? That's what I want to know.
So I'm reading something here. So I'm not tuning you out, but I am kind of tuning you out a little bit.
That's fine. I don't care.
I think I found something.
$10, American Nurse. John, if devolution or continuity of government are at play, are there any restrictions or timeframes to meet, or when would it end? Love your show and Devolution series. Great work, guys. I think I can answer that question first, which is no, I don't think there are any restrictions or timeframes. The beatings will continue until morale improves. John, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. When it comes to actual like definition of devolution, it doesn't give timeframes. It just says, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's, establishing the continuity government plan to protect the NEFs for short, mid, and long-term goals. And I think they even say goals. So there is no time frame. I think the minimum required is they need to be able to support any of these for at least 30 days. But it could be so much long. Like, we literally have no idea because we don't know how they restructured or reorganized the NEFs. We don't know exactly how they did any of it. We just have the clues that something was done, right? But no, they could technically carry this out all the way through the election or to January 20th of 2025.
Bro, they can carry it out for as long as they need.
Yeah. I'm looking at this first. This was the Q drop that was sent in here. Oof. And it's an interesting one. January 13th, 2018. Talks about the NSA. Yeah, the fact that it says this classified
executive
EO.
order, big ass blank. Damn. You might be talking about the NSPMs.
It could be, which I've been checking those. I haven't checked those in a couple of weeks. I wonder if there's been any changes.
Are there any new NSPMs?
Nope, nothing's changed. We still got 9 in the last 10 days, and they haven't added anything recently.
Damn, it's too bad there isn't a way to get a notification system for you for changes in websites like this. I bet you there's somebody in the chat who knows of apps like that.
Yeah, this one here is becoming more and more interesting as the Middle East is getting, and with what Trump said about there's a 100% chance there's going to be a terrorist attack. One of the last NSPMs he issued was number 36, Guidelines for United States Government Interagency Response to Terrorist Incidents in the United States and Overseas.
What was he up to in those last days of his presidency?
Sure is interesting.
All right, next. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Vance gains Trump 2 senators from Ohio. Sherrod Brown has no Kamala coattails to run with. Dude, there is no good explanation for why that son of a bitch keeps winning, okay? I'm talking about Sherrod Brown. It's just fake. Guys, it's so stupid. Like, take John Tester in Montana. Really? Really? Nobody should think at this point that guy ever won a freaking election. We should just assume it's fake. Kentucky, Beshears or whatever his name was, he wins the governorship where every single other statewide election goes heavily for the Republicans. All you got to do to say in response to that is, really? No, we know that's fake. $5. Live one. Patrick, I tried to do the rainfall buy one, get one half off, and it wanted me to buy 2 before I got one half off. So I only bought 1. I can't wait to get my bottle, though, and try it. I don't know what that's about. It's gonna. We haven't had a problem with it, so I don't know what the story was there, but I'll fix it on your cart. You got to wait until you get to proceed to checkout, I think, before the discount kicks in. But it comes out to a full 25% off the entire order. $15. Happy birthday, John. Thank you, 1027JS. $1, Keith O'Higgins. My idea is Musk has already launched killer satellites that will take down and disable Smartmatic Dominion. Leonardo Vatican-based satellites, November 4th. It's a perfectly good theory. Nothing I can say to disprove it. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Next big story will be Ivan Raiklin and Bongino's whistleblower harassment by IG and top-tier executives. I can't wait. That'll be fun. $5, Susie Q, 2021. Supporter, John and Patrick from QAnon.pub. Drop 4 and read the answers tab goes into Supreme Court's decision on military tribunals, military commissions, and Patriot Act. Drop 4.
Well, I'll do that in a second.
Q drop number 4. Okay, I'll try. You know what? I'll pull that up right quick on my own end. So all I have to do is just do #4, and that should take me there.
Yeah. Okay.
And there it is. All right, I got it.
Well, let me before we go to that, I want to do this one more time. I'm coming back to this this Q drop that was sent earlier because I think there's something interesting here. They're talking about threatening a shutdown, and then Q goes on to say, if D shut down the government, what happens to the United States military? What specifically occurs? And then I'm just looking at, again, this is just digging right now while you're reading, and I found a couple interesting things. Like this Q post is from January of 2018, but this article is from 2023. But the way this reads, it almost sounds like the military will still continue to protect our national essential functions. It almost reads like a county government thing. Maybe I'm having some confirmation bias here, but can we read through a couple things?
You bet. A shutdown puts the government on a complete standstill, said Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh during a discussion today with the Pentagon Press Corps. But the U.S. military is going to continue to do its job and protect our national security interests and those of our allies and partners as well. And this is in reference to a budget shutdown from the U.S. Congress.
Yeah, and there's also read this. Maybe we should have just read only that because it's a good summary.
With a possible government shutdown less than a week away, defense leaders say the nation will remain protected, but service members may end up doing that defense work without being paid elsewhere. Training operations could be curtailed, which will affect long-term readiness efforts to support Ukraine may also be hampered.
Okay. Now you can go to yours if you want. I'm going to keep.
Oh, okay. So Q drop number 4. So there it is. Aha. So Q drop number 4 says this, and I quote, this is from October 29th, 2017. So there's only 3 earlier Q drops than this. Some of us come here to drop crumbs, just crumbs. POTUS is 100% insulated. Any discussion suggesting he's even a target is false. POTUS will not be addressing nation on any of these issues as people begin to be indicted and must remain neutral for pure optical reasons. To suggest this is the plan is false and should be common sense. I don't even understand that sentence. Okay. Focus on military intelligence / state secrets and why might that be used versus any 3-letter agency. What SC, Supreme Court decision, opened the door for a sitting president to activate? What much must be showed? Why is POTUS surrounded by generals? And then 2 little markers indicating up. Again, there are a lot more good people than bad, so have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Don't fool yourself into thinking Obama, Soros, Roths, I'm assuming Rothschilds, Clintons, etc., have more power present day than POTUS. Operation Mockingbird, Patriots are in control. Sit back and enjoy the show. And just to go back, Susie Q 2021 says, read the answers tab, goes into Supreme Court's decision on military tribunals, military commissions, and Patriots Act. Oh, she's telling me to go to QAnon.pub. There's an answers tab at QAnon.pub. Okay, so just bear with me. We'll just go ahead and do that, if that's okay, John.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still kind of digging on this.
All right, fine. I'm just going to try the #4 thing and see if I can pull it up. I don't know. Okay, so maybe just try the number 4 because I don't know how to search in this one. Well, crap. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know how to search for posts at QAnon.pub. Let me see if I do. Well, I mean, shouldn't I be able just to? Aha. There. Sorry, I figured it out. Okay. October. Where's oh 4? There's 4. Okay. So am I sharing this still, guys? Okay, good. So where is the answers tab? Sorry, I got nothing. I have no answers tab here. Maybe if I shrink it down a little bit. Is there an there it is. Okay, I had it blown up too much. All right, so there's Q drop number 4 and click on answers tab. Aha, answers. All right, so look at that. Okay, here it is. What Supreme Court decision opened the door for a sitting president to activate? What must be showed? And it's Hamdan v. Rumsfeld. While Congress did not authorize military commissions, they left open the possibility of executive presidential formation of such. So, John, we have our little crumb. Hamdan v. Rumsfeld. Thank you so much, Susie Q.
Thank you. I found something.
Hot damn. All right.
So again, back to the Q drop I was reading about. If D shut down the government, what happens to the U.S. military? What specifically occurs? Think budget. Okay. And so I got to this thing. Let me share my screen. This is a guidance for contingency plan guidance for continuation of essential operations in the absence of available appropriations.
Okay. In the event of a shutdown.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with this. Sorry, it's kind of a live dig here, guys, but I think this is interesting, even though I haven't gotten all the way through it yet.
General information. This document provides guidance for identifying those missions and functions of the Department of Defense that may continue to be carried out in the absence of available appropriations, meaning they don't have the money. The information provided in this document is not exhaustive, but rather illustrative, and is intended primarily to assist in the identification of those activities that may be continued, notwithstanding the absence of available funding authority in the applicable appropriations. Accepted activities. Accepted, not accepted. Activities that are determined not to be accepted and which cannot be performed by utilizing military personnel in place of furloughed civilian personnel will be suspended when appropriated funds expired. The Secretary of Defense may, at any time, determine that additional activities shall be treated as accepted.
Okay, so I want to go down a little bit to talks about personnel and like budget stuff, like you can't take on new contracts, canceling foreign dignitary visits. But here's national security accepted things, and I found this one.
Activities necessary for continuity of government and continuity of operations. This is accepted. They can do it in the event of a government shutdown.
Yes. I'm going to see if there's more here. There's kind of a lot. This is something I'm probably going to have to dig into a little more. But I don't know. Maybe I'll send this to you, some of you Q people, because it seems like this fits the bill of that Q drop exactly.
Bro, that QAnon.pub, I can't believe I didn't know there was an answers tab. That's going to be really awesome for to go through.
Not even sure what you mean by that, but
dude, at QAnon.pub, you click answers, and it gives you a line by line explanation of the Q drop.
That is interesting. Who's providing it? Unless it's Stormy Joe or Joe Rambo, I guess. Do we care?
Somebody tell me who does the QAnon.pub.
Okay, I'm gonna send this to here. I'll post in the chat, guys. You guys can play around with it.
Yes, please. All right, back to the super chats. And yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot of time on QAnon.pub now that I know there's an answers page. All right. Thank you very much, Susie Q. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Easiest way to solve anyone competing in any female contact sport. Require naked jumping jacks. Nailed it, dude. You're the leader we need. $1, Stay Mac. I just signed up for the virtual GART Deadwood. Someday we'll attend a live GART, and we look forward to it. But thank you for coming virtually. $5, Ashley Christine. I know her. Patrick is looking super hot tonight. Thank you so much, my darling. $10, Simmel 10. The female boxer's first move in the ring should have been a really hard kick to the balls of those fuckers while wearing steel-toed shoes. A steel-toed shoe kind of work. Kick them anywhere. But yeah, good strategy. Good strategy. $2, Keith O'Higgins. I dated a female magician once. She wasn't very good. She couldn't make my wife disappear. Oh, Keith, you nut.
Keith.
$2, Dirk McGurkin. Precisely, Patrick. The controlling elite are most vulnerable at the end of a currency implosion. If you were a lesser elite, your best chance to wrest control is during a currency implosion. A currency implosion is the best for that. But what if I wrest control during a currency implosion? Did you ever consider that? I'm an opportunistic bastard. $10. $10, Gallant One. Off-topic question to Patrick. Have you ever thought of putting out a Bible audiobook? Remember, us boomers are losing our eyesight more and more. And what with the scare coming, just saying, you know something? I've thought about it. And I'm a real fan of something called the Good News Bible, which is a very modernized translation. And it might piss a lot of you off because it uses very modern sounding language. But I have thought about it. Bible's long, though. I was thinking maybe about just doing the Book of Job to start. But Book of Job is actually pretty long. $10. Sunstone 815. Happiest of birthdays to you, John. Wishing you a wonderful and prosperous year ahead. Thank you so much. $5. Emerald Dragon 1333. Hey guys, first DPH live for me. I always have 2% caution that this is all to take us cheering into utter enslavement, but I do believe we will come out on top. Check Michelle Clan in Arizona for local act. Will do. Thank you, Emerald Dragon.
Thank you.
$10. Jason G82. Corey Comparatori equals coerce my operator. Equals ace promoter coyer. Verb shifty dodgy. Welcome to the afterlife. Guys, find more anagrams for Corey Comparatori. Coerce my operator. Is that really an anagram of Corey Comparatori? Because I can't do that in my head. As much as you people may think I can. Yeah, I want anagrams. Thanks, G82. $5 RPR. And we are at war. In the words of Marvin Gaye, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear from either side. Was there really a pandemic? Did anyone die at the rally? Question all. Thank you so much, RPRN. I think that means red pilled nurse. See, I'm a code breaker too.
I like that.
$20, Jody IVRN. Happy birthday, John, Patrick, and you are my favorites. Thank you so much, Jody. Really, I love hearing that. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Dark Cow Right. No, RITE. So it's Dark Cow Right, as in ritual. Well, they just killed Dark Brandon. When do we get Dark Cammy? I don't know, because she's really not all that dark. $20, Cav Ultra. Happy birthday, John. Looking forward to meeting you both in Deadwood. Thanks for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to that as well.
Much. $5. Mighty Brush 68. Been awake since 2013. My family is financially successful. In this system, they vote Trump, but won't acknowledge the real evil. I am an artist who is okay with letting go of the norm. And he puts norm capitalized, the first letter capitalized like it's a name, in quotes. Very interesting. Very Q-like. $20 NV Runner. Leo's Rule. Happy birthday. I'm an Aries, which is a fire sign. Leo is also a fire sign. The other fire sign, I think, is Sagittarius. $5. Stay Mac. Yay for August birthdays, especially August 9th.
That is my brother's birthday.
Wow, very nice. $5. Apocryphal World Records. Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
$5. Mighty Brush 68. Any Badlanders in Connecticut? My art is too much for the artsy crowd here. Need to get myself to a GART. God bless you all at BLM. Badlands Media, that is. Thank you so much. $20. C.A. Prejean. What is up, sir? Happy birthday, John. You're a true patriot. Having the same birthday as Obama is the worst. I have the same birthday as Bill Clinton. Sucks ass, but I own the date. He's lucky to share it with me. Awesome, C.A. Prejean. I have the same birthday as Al Gore, so we can all be miserable together.
Love that. I mean, I hate that I have a birthday with Obama, but it is what it is.
At least Obama's cool. Al Gore's a freaking dork. $1. Keith O'Higgins, the 9/11 planners want to live now. Their lawyers just informed them that their 72 virgins are now transgender. Happy B-Day, John. Thank you so much, Keith O'Higgins. $5. Jason G. 82. Devolution started in 1952 with the start of the NSA. Oh, it's a long time to devolve.
Yeah, it's not my definition of devolution, but
$5. Rambo and Friends. 3387 is arguably the most important drop out there as far as devolution is concerned. IMO. 3387. You know what? I'm going to try to look it up in QAnon.pub.
Here, I got it. I got it on app.
That's nice, but I want the answers. Wow, dude, this website is freaking crazy. All right, so you want to read the thing? Okay, so 3387 of July 9th, 2019. First, a link to YouTube.
And it's this speech
is about replacing a failed and corrupt
speech we know very, very well.
Yep.
Listen very carefully. Again, note past 2 years. So this is the summer of 2019. So note the past 2 years. Note next 6 years. That's going to take us to 2025. You were told what was going to happen. You were told what battles we face. Strategic, pre-planned, Patriots in control. Q.
I like that.
I do too.
Thanks, Joe. We should connect sometime about Q and Devo stuff. We should connect with Stormy as well. Talk about some of that.
By the way, Rambo says that Badlands needs a late night infomercial show for Patrick. Dude, I'm so down with that. Have me selling stuff on screen late at night.
But don't you go to bed? You're a night owl, aren't you?
I'm not a night owl, dude.
You're up late.
I'm up late for the Devolution Power Hour. Who on earth would not stay up to be on this show? But in general, I try to get to sleep. Well, I try to be in bed, but right now, Ashley and I are watching Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Almost done with season 6. Shit is about to get clownishly bad, but we have to finish it out through all the way to the end.
Has she never seen it or something? Like, why would you rewatch it? Okay, that's why.
Studiously avoided watching it because she gets annoyed when people love shows.
And have you prepared her to be just
completely
overwhelmingly disappointed?
In fact, I prepared her so well that she might even like most of seasons 7 and 8, because I have run them down so hard. She'll probably come away from it saying, yeah, I see what you're saying, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Okay. That's good then. Temper those expectations.
Oh, I have tempered the shit out of them. All right. Next, we have $5 Rambo and Friends. Oh, yeah. That was a damn fine Q drop. I need to watch that again. Temper expectations. That's great. $5. Mighty Brush 68. I would love to host an art and music show on Badlands. So much stuff that relates to what you guys do. So many artists who have shed light on the real struggle over the years. Send me your art at pgunnels@gmail.com. I will always read the email. Can't guarantee that I will respond to it. $5. Mighty Brush 68. CanCon has seen my work. I ain't kidding.
You should email Patrick at that email, and then Patrick, you should forward that to me because I'm not gonna say why, but just that's relevant. So please send that to Patrick.
Yes, please.
When you get it, Patrick, send it to me.
pgunnels@gmail.com. $5 makes sense to me too. Just bought 2 bottles of Zeolite and Rainfall. Thanks for that promo. Good luck with your move. That's right, I am moved. Thank you so much for purchasing. We're trying to get rid of as much inventory as possible before we move to a different neighborhood nearby. And you guys, believe me, you're helping enormously with your purchases. Buy one, get one half off. Pretty much all my major products. $5 promo code Badlands. $5. Ed Benson. Patrick, use qalerts.app, and you can search by Q post using pound number, for example. Yeah, I know that, but I want to go to qanon.pub because it has an answers tab, and I can't figure out how to search using qanon.pub.
I wonder if app has that too.
Maybe. Damn, dude, I met the qalerts.app guy at the pit. Hell of a nice guy. And I should have asked him that then.
Yeah.
$5. Jim 73. Tester was losing his first election until they found a back box of ballots in the middle of the night on the Indian reservation. I don't know if that's true, but I believe it. Oh yeah, $20. L Lane 62. Did y'all hear about the Zeolite helped a man with metal poisoning? 1 month of 1 month of Zeolite did more than 6 months of medical treatment. John, that's actually true. I got a call from this gentleman, Tony, who had long-term gadolinium poisoning, and chelation was so slow. And then he just did Zeolite and the Wellness Extra capsules for a month, taking attack dosages, and cured all his symptoms and had a massive drop in his levels of metal poisoning. So yeah, it's intense stuff. $10. Pizza Man 4243. Trump stated in 2019, just prior to Kentucky governor election, that it would be a foreshadowing of presidential election. It was stolen for Bashir. I didn't know that. Pizza Man 4243. Do me a favor, if you could find that clip, send it to pgunnels@gmail.com. Gman.com. Because his name is Pizza Man, and I was looking at the word man at the time. Anyway, $1. Keith O'Higgins. Women have an answer tab. It's right next to the G spot. C/clitoris. Oh, you nut, Keith O'Higgins.
He's on a roll.
$10. Barry 1968. If Deadwood has any hiccups, you're welcome to come to Branson, Missouri. Plenty of hotels and lakes with nightlife. Been trying to get a GART here for a while. I hear such great things about Branson.
When's the best time of year to come down there, Barry?
Yeah, not the summer, I bet.
Because we are looking for some 2025 locations.
I think, may I just say that we need to do another beach one during a beach season.
Yeah. When is what do you mean by beach season?
When it's okay to get in the water. Dude, come on.
Beach season's year round.
You're ridiculous. You people in North Dakota are ridiculous, and you're barely even human. You're kind of like the Andorians from Star Trek. You just live in a climate that isn't appropriate for human life. Motherfucker. Exactly.
Yeah, but you said that.
Cocoa Beach, Florida was the perfect climate for going to the beach.
Oh, it was amazing.
Cocoa Beach is probably perfect climate all the time, though.
But yeah, but anyway. Now aren't there sharks everywhere? Do we really want to risk that?
Give me a break. Good luck, shark. Come and get me. But another thing is, I was at Pensacola for a wonderful, beautiful wedding of the wonderful Ty and JC. And the water was exquisitely beautiful. And it was cold enough to cryogenically freeze my nuts. I couldn't even believe how cold it was.
So you were just there at the wrong time of year?
Yeah, it was like March. Is it March, late March?
For the water? Yeah, I remember that. I couldn't go to that one. but I wanted to.
Gorgeous, beautiful, but the water was uninhabitable, except
Yeah,
for maybe people like you, John. You, polar bear, you.
We are going to Myrtle Beach in November, but I don't know what that beach life will be like at that time of year. But yeah, we'll get down to Cocoa Beach again, and we are looking for other locations for 2025. So yeah, Branson, maybe that's in contention.
Here's an interesting super chat. $5, Mindy Q. I looked at the Epic Lotion Rainfall, and it has sodium benzoate in it, and I thought that wasn't good for you. At Mindy Q. Mindy Q, we have chosen the preservative system most conducive to good health. It's the closest thing to an organic preservation system that you can get. You can't have aloe vera in a lotion without a preservative system. Aloe vera will rot immediately if you don't preserve it. If you keep it in the fridge, it rots in 2 weeks. If you keep it out on your counter at room temperature, aloe vera gel will go bad in a matter of like a few days. So without a preservative system, you cannot sell a product that contains aloe vera. That's a fact. You will find that our preservative system is the safest and most organic that you can find. Thank you very much for the question. It's a valid one. $5, WSKI Girl. Happy birthday from me and Fat Chance. See you in Deadwood. See you there. $5, Jason G82. First name released from Butler was Mark Violets. And that's an anagram for removal skit.
This anagram stuff is funny.
Yes. I am so glad to get y'all on the anagram bandwagon. George Floyd is an anagram for Edge of Glory. Just saying. And that's a Lady Gaga song. $10, Patrick GBBP 417. Patrick, before you go, read us the Bible. Would love that. But check out YouVersion Bible app. There's loads of versions that have audible versions. Happy birthday, John. Yeah, there are tons of. Thank you very much for the super chat. There's so many audio Bibles, you know.
Patrick, can you read this real quick?
I surely can. Sure. Here are some anagrams for Patrick Gunnels. 1, prankling cutes. 2, trekking plans. 3, sprang like cunt. I've got a better one. Patrick Gunnels is an anagram for large pink cunts.
Is it really?
It is.
Is there not? Oh, I don't see that one.
Clanking spurt.
Packing luster N.
Large pink cunts. That is my name anagramized.
Interesting.
So now everybody knows. Next.
You keep going. I'm going to do my own.
$2, tattooed teacher. We have no idea when Obama was born. Enjoy your birthday, John. Thank you so much for that. It's very true. My grandmother was also born on August 4th. It's a popular birthday. $1, deplorable number 1. Is the new security measures being implemented in our election system actually the FBI trying to catch the steal in real time? Your guess is as good as mine on that question.
It's possible.
$1, one top operator. Happy birthday, John. I share my birthday with Trump. Just saying. Now, that's a nice birthday to share.
Not all of us are as lucky as you.
I know, right? $5, Jason G82. Crook's only social media was Epic Microwave equals a comic preview equals a coercive wimp. This is so much fun. Thank you so much. $10. Barry, 1968. No sharks in Table Rock Lake in Branson, lol. Best time is in October. Okay. October, best time. Check it out. $5. DAC, 8869. John Anon. You did have merch at GART 1. Obama's birth certificate is fake and gay, so you may not share the date. And last, which of the speaker list is correct? Events tab or tickets tab?
Tickets tab, because we had G Money has to move his kid into college and he doesn't think he's going to make it.
Brutal.
But
I didn't know he had a kid.
Yeah, he is too.
Congrats on having kids, G Money.
But this isn't even 100% accurate because I don't see Stormy Joe on here, and Stormy Joe is
He's going to be there.
He's going to be there now. Yep.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, he quit his day job and he's going into the info war full time. And so he's able to come to this.
Oh wow! I need to get him selling lotion.
Yeah, Brad Zero. Okay, I'm trying to. I think that I feel like we're missing even one more besides Stormy. But yeah, Stormy's going to be there. Yeah, but that's the ticket page one is the accurate one. More accurate one.
What, dude? I need to wear I need to bring like 2 cowboy hats at least, right?
Oh, I can't wait for you to see my outfit.
I need a little bit of guidance, by the way. Just give me a little bit of tips on what I should bring.
Assless chaps, and that's all you need.
Never mind, I'm not asking you. I'll have Ashley find out for me. She'll know.
Okay. Sounds good.
Back to that. $5. Ashley Christine. Can we have a dance party at the next GART? Also, happy birthday, John. Ashley, we really need to have a dance party at the next GART. And Ashley will be hopefully at one that Ashley's at, because we have been doing a lot of ballroom dancing together and we love it.
Yeah, I forgot your affinity for dancing now. Maybe we should do a dance party.
We really should. We kind of sort of had one at Threadfest too.
Yeah, we did.
There was a little dancing. It was more of a DJ with a whole bunch of people drinking.
Yeah.
$1 G Henry. Never ask a question you don't want an answer for. Anagram for Donald Trump. Per Perplexity AI is damn turd Paul. Well, shit. Thank you for that. $10, another $179. Happy birthday, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's all of them.
I got a nice evening of research ahead of me now that I got this answers tab. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep digging on that that government shutdown military thing, because that is fascinating to me too. Patrick, you grab. Oh, this is Keith O'Higgins. I want you to read this one.
Oh God, I don't even have it in front of me anymore.
Okay, Patrick, you grab large pink cunt's domain name before Trump does.
That's the worst.
Awesome. Anyway, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Get your GART tickets. We
Thumbs
will do
up.
a couple of those virtual streams this week. Don't know when, but we'll try to announce it as soon as we find out. And other than that, you guys have a great rest of your evening. We will see you next time. Thanks, Patrick.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Witness the motion picture event that is being called fucking amazeballs.
Do you see the difference in the M there?
It's go time. 25 later on my.
You got a seriously weird ass way of looking at shit.
If you look at the waviness of the little flag that comes out of the R is wavy. The one in the first hump in the M is not wavy. It's just a pure arc. Does that make sense?
We want to warn our viewers that these are extremely graphic images.
Give me a second, dude. This is more autistic than I've ever been before.